Hello and welcome. Let's continue on within part two as we are on day 619 on the Litecoin versus Bitcoin trade. And we last left off selling at 65.88. I've removed all the closed orders on here, so there's two shorts we can state that need to be covered in this long here at this price, with the last trade coming in at 65. Let's look to about 52 on the low end and about 78 on the high end and make our sale. And we will sell 100 or get 158 Litecoin for 2 BTC in here, and then look for the next transaction either on the low from the 79. Look to about 63 or sell at about 99. It goes up to this 100. I'll complete this upper transaction, which had that of 1.58 Bitcoin. Let's see what 1.4 would do. Make a 39 Litecoin. That's pretty decent. And move on into the next trade. And it's a rise to 123. And I'm going to make a big order on this, selling 5 for 613. As well for a smaller order, 1.2 Bitcoin out as the price is in the same area. Market goes up to about 170. 168 is what I'm going to get on Litecoin for 1 BTC. Rising even further to the 212 number. And I'm going to sell 0.95 Bitcoin for 202 Litecoin. Up even further to about 258. And if it goes up a little more, I'm going to have to do another large order again, or a bold size one for a larger position. And on day 1209 up to 286.53, that's how many Litecoin was needed for 1 Bitcoin on this day. It was, we know it's the bottom, but now do you make that aggressive play? You own, now if I knew what I know now, let's just sell all the Bitcoin, but I can't. So what's the real amount that I would sell owning 7.1? If I sell 2.9, that's not quite half. I consider that an aggressive play. I'd be picking up 825 when I already own 3,000. So let's take that order in. And also manufacture a small short-term order as well. Small fall down to the 241, enough to get the last sell back. And then a few days later, we go down 44% in one day to 135, which means I'm going to complete this one. I'm close to the little bit lower I would like on the 284, but this is where just every day, as long as it doesn't go up much, I'm just probably going to make a trade. Well, there it went up 12. There it went down 5, down 8, so at 135, you know what? Maybe I can complete this transaction here where it was maybe 170. That's a good deal. And 133, I want a little lower than that. So I'd be like, okay, well, what would I take? 120, 118 maybe. And then after selling 133, or buying rather at that number, and coming from 241, I'd like to see it near 200. So what a great buyback on this 91 in here. So therefore, we can, at the 825, how many do I want to sell? I got 3,500 to sell. I got lots that can go. I think a lot of them. Again, I mean, I'm only 7 Bitcoin left after selling all of those. Got to fix that problem, and this is a center spot where I can do so by selling 750, thus making 75 Litecoin on this particular cross. I added 8.17 Bitcoin. That's a gain of over 5. Pretty darn near good. 4 or 5 and a quarter even. I could even start a small sale after this. I mean, I made a good buy. I got to 817, so I got 15. Maybe I can go like a 1.2 deal just to get liquidity in. And then it goes down 7, up 17, down 5, up 3, down 17 for 100. So now let's look at getting this one back. And of the 168, 150 gets back 1.43. Price falls to 81, so I'm going to do a buyback in here. 130 for 1.58. And falling further below 65. And I'm in a spot where I need Bitcoin. Now I got a lot of Litecoin, not as much Bitcoin. And in here, when I had 142 Litecoin that were a gain for 1.2 BTC, well, I could take 140 of them and get 2.14, which is what I would do in this situation. And we can even close this baby in this transaction. When you own 2,500 Litecoin, an aggressive play means like going like 7, 8, 900, even 1,000. Doing all 600 or about that is easily in the ballpark. There we go. So now we can be looking to buy back maybe even the 79 just for something to do. Really just to clear it because it's a small transaction. Not really. About 150. That gets us 2.67. And the last sell was 42. So we're nowhere near that. We'd be creating maybe a new one on. So let's just figure out where do we go from here. 45, maybe 70. It goes to 75. And amongst such, let's sell some of the newly gained BTC in here. Let's go 3 to start off with this one. A little higher again to 93, so I'm going to make another trade, 2.5 for 231. And then falling back down to about 73, which is where I'll complete that last sell. And down to 57.44 here, so I can complete this one in here as well. And that was getting 225, so let's go 175, even more than that. That means we're back to these two here again. So basically new orders, these, and thinking of such, where do we want to go for the buy? Maybe 41. Look to sell it maybe 79. Sell some Bitcoin. You got 3.2. We might as well go back to that. Maybe 3.25 number. That's 10%. Not a bad starting point here. And get 271 of them. And after 83, we'll look to buy that back, say at about 61. And maybe about 105 on the upside. There's the buyback. So we'll go 245 maybe, get a good Bitcoin gain. And then what we'll do is I'll remove all of these removed trades and go to the next transaction. And the price goes to about 72, 71, and that's selling 3.25 Bitcoin for 230 Litecoin at this time. Up to well over 90 now, 94, 95. I'm getting 94.77 on this. And time for a large trade as it's up to 106. So we're only 27. Let's look at doing 9 of them. So 9 Bitcoin getting 949 Litecoin, we'll call it. That's not, even today, that's not the hardest things to do on sites like Binance and even a lot of the other ones to get kind of that kind of liquidity. Continuing to go up to 126.8. So we'll sell 225 next on the decline to 100-ish and get 2.188 Bitcoin back. Then the rally up to 141, which means I can go ahead and sell a little over 2 Bitcoin for 300 Litecoin. On day 50-01, we've got about less than 500 to go. It's another trade, the buyback on the 140. And then down to 55.4, which means I can complete this trade here. And then it goes up to the 75-ish handle, 74 we'll call it, where I'll make another trade. Continued upward movement, which means another sell order is being played here at the 94. And continuing to go up at the number to 120. And even further up to 144. Another trade comes through. And as we're getting close to the end of day 1893, the price dips down to about 110. And then on day 1927, continuing to decline to 85. And on 1963, it goes down even more to 65. And now we're just going to be rolling towards the end here. The last few days it goes to 67, 68. See if there's any significant moves. But this is very much a long-term game in which needs to be grinded out. Well, there's 58.07. There's enough to bring this one back. And that was for 203. And that really should take us to the end. Because you're not going to be selling at 64 here. Not when it was a 58 buy. And there we have it. Game over. So how did I do compared to the first time? I'm not too impressed overall to be at 25 or 26 and 3,200. I think I could have done a lot better. I barely did better, I guess, but wow, pretty close to the same. So I had before an extra, like a half a Litecoin. Yeah, not, or excuse me, that extra half a Bitcoin rather, before. But having an extra 300 Litecoin, well, that makes it marginally better than it did before. But the whole point on this is that we're playing or looking at two coins that just aren't as volatile. Let's get a look at the average statistics for trades. These are all the trades that have been in here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to push an equal sum. This will tell me how many Litecoins were on the, what side would have been, buy or sell? It would have 7,000 that were sold. and they were sold for 111 Bitcoin. 9,240 Litecoins were purchased, and they were sold for 93 Bitcoin. The average buy cost was 63.19. The average sale, 99. Hey, that's pretty good. Obviously, not much short-term focus was really put into play, but it still had the game being played and profit coming in. And when you can come into this game and turn, well, 10 into 26, that's a 2.6x gain. And what did I start again with? 850 Litecoin. So that's almost a 4 times gain. Last time it was 3-4. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.